Election Committee of October 11th to order, please. Would the minute taker please call the roll?
Alderman Roy Wesley. Alderman Coles.
Here.
Alderman Shockey.
Here.
Alderman Sismarski. Alderman Eugene Wesley.
Here.
Alderman Winger.
Here.
Alderman Lazara.
Here.
Alderman Woods.
Here.
Alderman Roy Wesley.
First item is a report and recommendation. Oh, no. First item is an approval of the minutes of September 27th. I'll make that an motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
No questions? Carries. Items to be considered are report and recommendation on the Comcast franchise agreement. Who will pick up on that? Mr. Wilson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As some of you will probably remember, about a year and change ago, when we redid the control room, we had said that we were going to use the PEG fees to pay for those improvements. At that time, we only had the AT&T PEG fees, and in reaching out at that time to a gentleman by the name of Tony at Comcast, he said it'd be a year to 15 months before we could negotiate a new contract with Comcast and possibly get those PEG fees on there. In June of this year, I touched base with him again, and he said that is correct. In mid to late August, we received a letter from Mr. Dan Maloney next to me here, formally confirming that that was the case. And since then, we've been working on the attached agreement with Comcast to renew our franchise agreement with them and add the language for the PEG capital fees. So just to reiterate, like I said, this was about a year ago. It was being asked about, so we're bringing it back to you now that we finally are able to get that in there. The AT&T is 1% of the bill, and that's per the state franchise. Comcast is still on a local franchise, so the max they can do is 35 cents per bill per month. So effectively, if your bill is more than $35, it's less than 1%, and you're kind of ahead of what the AT&T customers are being charged. The agreement that's attached was negotiated by the Metro Mayor's Caucus, as well as the DMMC and some other local COGs. As I said, Dan Maloney is the Director of Government Affairs for the Greater Chicago region from Comcast, is here to answer any questions you may have. And I believe it's on the second page of my memo. To trigger the PEG fee, we have to come up with a spending plan to utilize the money, because Comcast doesn't want to just give us the money if we don't have a plan for how to use it. So we are currently working on that, but we wanted to also make sure that everybody on the dais was on board with initiating the fee before we got too far down the road and wasted a lot of resources if it wasn't going to go. And putting the language in there doesn't, as I said, automatically obligate Comcast to charge it. There's a couple communities that have had the language in there for a few years and have never done anything with it. So all it does is it gives us the opportunity to start charging that fee. But if the language isn't in there, then we're going to preclude ourselves from that for the next 10 years from being able to generate anything there. So there's no downside to putting it in there, only a potential upside.
Alderman Wesley.
I have a couple questions. Does Comcast say that we have to use it for, is there guidelines that we have to use it for? Do they have a list of what it could be used for? I mean,
Alderman, I'm Dan Maloney.
okay.
Essentially, it's, under federal law, the guideline or the requirement is it be PEG capital expenditures. Equipment and facilities are the primary among those. That's really the only thing it can be used for under the law.
Okay, may I continue?
Please do.
We have already dispersed some money on redoing the cameras and updating the control room. Will we be eligible to take that money if we choose to do this and put it towards that, well, is Comcast considering that? Because we already did it, and that was a whole situation that we, as a council, decided. We took AT&T's money, and that's what we applying it for. Are you saying that I cannot take the Comcast money to do that, or, I mean, because we
Yeah.
did update.
The
Your
way
sys-
the way the language in the section is written, hang on, I don't want to screw this up.
Oh, no.
The way it's written, if the city, well, there's a couple ways you could do it, and I think I'll run through them sequentially, and in that it'll answer your question, Alderman. A lot of times, what is done is a municipalities have done it, will start collecting the money in anticipation of expenditures, but the language also includes that if I'll just read it. If the city chooses to borrow from itself revenue for large purchases, the city shall be permitted to make periodic repayments from the PEG Capital Fund back to,
So we could do it.
could do that. This, and just as a point of reference, the amount of money, up to 35 cents a month, if it were at 35 cents a month, that yields over $12,000 a year, based on current subscriber numbers,
Okay.
12,000 per month,
per year.
per year.
A little bit more, not a lot.
And
Go ahead, please.
and what was AT&T a month? You know, offhand?
It's about the same amount per year. It's about 12,000 per year.
And what was the project for upgrading the system?
The one that we did last year was around 60.
So as a council, we discussed about taking that money. I believe our conversation as a council is that when we updated everything, that we would take that percentage and put it towards paying this off. So I'm still on board of trying to get that lower down to where we were at, because we needed the update. We heard it from the people, that they couldn't watch on TV. There was too much status and all that, and we choose as a council to update the control room, so.
Mr. Manager.
Yeah, Alderman Wesley's correct. When we had discussed this, when we were first making the improvements, the council did indicate that that's what they wanted to do. And just so everybody remembers, we did do some massive upgrades, but we weren't able to actually do everything. The audio component of the system still hasn't been updated. And just the video component, like Brad said, is pretty expensive. So this type of funding is needed to maintain good, viewings for residents at home, high quality viewings. So we do need this, and we have to pay for it somehow.
Any other comments, questions? And I'll make a motion to accept the cable television franchise agreement between the City of Wooddale and Comcast of Illinois. Will that be sufficient?
Second.
All in favor, or do we need a voice vote? I mean, Mayor, do we need a,
All in favor?
just all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Very good. By the way, before I get into the items considered at future meetings, what,
Nobody answered when you said all in favor. I mean, that was a question, but nobody said anything.
All in
they all
favor?
nodded yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. You got it. Before we go into the items we consider for future meetings, last night there was a meeting at Maple Meadows about the Oak Meadows Golf Club taking over the eastern part of Maple Meadows. And I know they filmed it. I don't know if it was disc or what, but can we get a copy of that and put it on our Channel 6?
If there's a copy and we get it, we can certainly put it on there. Sure.
I'd appreciate it if you would try.
I'll try to get the copy and then I'll give it to Nick.
Thank you. Okay, other meetings, items to be considered at future meetings are the treasurer's duties. That'll be in November. Audit presentation, also November. Property tax levy, thank you, sir. Property tax levy for in November and December. 6-month review of the 2013 budget, November, December. The pool sprinkling credit, November, December again. The DWC rate increase, November, December. The CIP in January. Budget for 2014 in February. The property casualty discussion, November and December. Does anybody else have anything to add to that? If not, I'll make a motion to adjourn Public Health, Safety, and Judiciary Committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Next meeting is Public Health and Safety and Judicial Committee. Call to order. Everybody knows, everybody's here, so we don't have to make a roll call. Approve the minutes. Approve the minutes of meeting September 27th, 2012. Do I have a
So move.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. All right. Report and recommendation of amendment of an ordinance 15, 2004A. And I'm gonna let the chief take over. So,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This deals with amending the ordinance regarding location of stop signs in town. The area of, or the intersection, I should say, of Grove and Center has been a constant source of resident complaints as far as traffic issues and vehicles speeding past their houses. I know the two aldermen in the area received numerous complaints. Alderman Wesley and Alderman Sismarski and I actually met with some of the residents out there, and they were looking for some solutions to some of their problems. Based upon that, we have done some extra radar patrols out there. We've put out the traffic counters out there. There's about 300 cars a day that pass through that area, which in and of itself, compared to other streets in town, is not a lot, but for a street that really has just residential destinations, it is a higher number. Anyways, based on that, we thought one of the ways we could look at possibly seeing if this was a viable alternative was under the code authorizing a temporary stop sign, which was installed in August. And then, of course, we have to come to council for final codification if we want to approve that as a permanent one. Just a little bit about the area. There is a downhill slant to the hill, so if you start up at Grove and School, and I drove it myself and I hit the speed limit, and if I don't do anything else and take my foot off the gas, I slightly exceed a little bit the speed limit. So just getting to the speed limit, you don't have to do anything else to maintain the speed limit. It's about 0.4 of a mile without any stops except on the side streets, and it's kind of similar to the area of School and Grove. If you're going westbound on School, there's a stop sign at Grove, which would just be this is a similar type intersection. Anyways, so based on that, we did put up the temporary stop signs. We've received positive feedback from the residents over there, especially the ones that were noticing the most issues. So at this time, we would look to seek approval to make that a permanent stop sign location.
that will be a three stop sign,
Correct.
three. All right, Eugene?
No,
Question?
I was just gonna make a motion to approve it.
Oh. I would like to make a motion to approve it. Eugene wants to make a motion to
No,
approve it.
that's,
I'll second it.
Yeah.
All in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? All right, passes. Thank you.
Quick question.
Question.
I've noticed some other towns, when they put up a new stop sign, that it's the one that lights up with the solar thing. Is that possible to do to get people's attention?
Yeah, I've seen some of those at intersections, and they are definitely attention getting. Maybe that's something I could look at in the budget process of seeing if there's certain locations in town that we do want to add the blinking around the lights. Will that cause more complaints from people that live in the area that the lights are blinking? I don't know, but I can certainly look at it as part of the budget discussion. I don't know how much those are for the solar thing and then the battery to power it.
Seen where they put them up and then they, after a month or so, they take them down and put a regular stop sign.
Oh, okay.
So,
I seen that up in Wisconsin, on a backwood road, that they put a stop sign up with that flashing at night, and that's pretty nice.
Yeah, it gets your attention.
Gets your attention.
one more.
Okay, one more.
On Irving Park Road going westbound at Wooddale Road, there's no right turn. People are supposed to take Front Street. The signage, I don't think, is adequate. Many people are still turning right at Wooddale Road, and I think maybe we should have some kind of additional signage before Front Street, telling them if they're going south on Wooddale Road to take Front Street.
What we'll do is I'll reach out to IDOT on that, because any signage up there has to be installed and approved by them. But we'll bring it to their attention.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's it.
All right. Items to be considered for future meetings. Does anybody have any items? Eugene?
Greg, can I just ask you one question, or it could be in future meeting? I believe at one time we had some residents come on Prospect. Have we addressed that issue that was raised in the city council chamber about the speeding cars and about the parking on both side streets over there? I thought that was brought to us, and have we resolved that issue, or?
We have.
I mean, we could put it on.
We
future
did put
agenda.
something in the packet regarding it, but it was a little bit of time ago. But just as a refresher, because of all the construction that was going on over there, but Public Works did send out a survey to the area residents, and there was overwhelming support for both restricting parking over there and also looking at possible speed humps. So I've actually already got a reminder in my calendar for the spring. We didn't want to do it temporary ones right before the winter, after construction's done, and then put temporary down, and you can't plow over those. So that's going to be all addressed in the spring, and we've reached back out to the resident, let them know. So it's fine.
Well, number 6, adjourn. All in favor? Aye.
Second the motion.
And a motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll call
Any opposed?
I'll call the Public Works Committee to order, make the minute taker, same people are present. I need a motion to approve the minutes for September 27th, 2012. That is my motion.
Second.
Corrections, changes? All in favor? Oh,
Aye.
I'm sorry.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 4, report of reclamation pay request to MQ Sewer Water Contract Incorporation 2000 water main replacement project not to exceed $442,691.90. That is my motion, but I have a question. I need a
Second.
Question. That is not the final payment, am I correct?
You're correct, sir. This is partial payment 3 of 4. There's still one more payment left to be made. We're holding approximately $48,000 on this contract. There's still a number of small punch list items that Mr. Superintendent promises will be completed by the end of the week. There's a couple of bushes that need to be replaced. And we're also holding this contract open to see the completion of the study on the Woodland HOA pond testing. So those
Okay.
3 items need to be addressed prior to the 4th and final pay request.
Okay, and then the other thing that needs to be addressed is got to do with the Plody contract about them restoring some of their work in the parkway. Are you aware of that?
I think that's part of the punch list on that one.
Okay,
Yeah,
I just want to make sure.
Okay.
So,
we'll make sure. But this is for the 3rd out of the 4 payments. So this is the 3rd partial payment.
so this is the third payment, and there's one more after that. And you say how much is it?
This payment is.
I know this one,
Okay,
but-
there's about $48,000 left on the 4th payment.
Okay. So that is my motion. I do have a second. Any other questions? All in favor?
Well, let me get one,
Go ahead, Mr. Woods.
just your last statement, there's 48,000 left on the 4th payment. Is the 4th payment 48,000 total, or after the 4th payment, there's gonna be 48,000?
There's, the balance of the remaining work is $48,472.
What was the total contract for this job?
The total contract was $1,084,728.20,
And do we hold 10% retention?
5% retention.
5%.
Yes.
So that's the 5%,
There's
the
still,
48.
there's still additional 5. That's 4% of the contract left, the number I gave with the 48. And then there's also the 5% retainage that we're holding as well.
Okay, so there is the 5% beyond the 48.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. That's what I want to know.
Okay. I have a motion, I have a second, all in favor? Aye. Oppose? Motion carries. Item number 5 will be removed off the agenda. And the reason why it's being removed is there's some paperwork that is not completed with this, am I right, Jeff? Item number 5 for RJ Dunneman for parking lot improvement. Not to exceed $311,349.63. That item will be removed off the, go ahead.
Yeah, this was, it was actually an error on my part. The committee did pass this,
That's
the
right.
council passed it, but why this is on there is because we were waiting for some final paperwork before we cleared the check.
Right.
We did get the final paperwork. I actually put it on the agenda. The check was never mailed, so now that we did get the final paperwork and the council passed it, we are gonna mail the check.
Okay, so item number 6, report of recommendation pay request to ALAM Concrete Construction of Stoneham Street reconstruction not to exceed $83,970.00. That is my motion.
Second.
Questions, concern? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, report of recommendation change order. Argonne Electric Company Incorporation for South Wastewater Treatment Plant generator replacement in amount not to exceed $18,469.00. That is my motion.
Second.
I have one question. Go ahead. Do you have a question? Why was there a change order? I mean, go ahead.
It appears that when this project was first designed back in early 2011, the city's consulting engineer met with NICOR. They discussed the scope of work to be performed to provide new gas service to the South Treatment Plant, and came up with basically a approved design between the two parties and an estimated cost. NICOR, since changed hands, representatives working on this project have left and they've been replaced. And when the new representatives came out this spring in 2012, it was found that the location of the gas service was not where it was identified back in 2011. Additional work had to be done to bring the gas service to the new location, and NICOR was no longer willing to hold the price that they gave back in 2011. And so the contractor now has to do more work, and the allowance that was in the contract did not cover this additional work.
So more or less, we did not have a agreement written out with NICOR. Am I
No,
correct?
I don't believe so. Basically, they have there's meeting minutes and such were taken, but there was no formal agreement.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. I do have a motion, I do have a second, am I right? Yes. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Items considered future meeting, Woodside HO retention pond testing results, October, November. Private Street Pond strategy, November, December. Anything else? Anyone? Alderman Roy Wesley.
This probably doesn't come under Public Works, but the city manager, could you, make sure you go through Channel 6, the full Channel 6, and update those things on there? I noticed some things on there, like the Memorial Day Parade was still on there. There was a name on there from an employee that's been gone for a year and a half. So could you make sure that that is fully updated?
Mr. Murray.
That's why we need that PEG system. We can get a robot or something to do that. But, yeah,
Okay,
we'll take care of it.
thank you.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.